If you're feeling like you don't have the energy to talk to people or talking just drains you, you might be experiencing a hermit phase of spiritual awakening. I've been through this phase myself recently, and I found that there are five main signs. The first one is definitely this lack of social energy. But this lack of social energy is not the same as being depressed or being an introvert. I just want to be very clear here. I am an introvert and I had been depressed before, so I could tell the differences. As an introvert, yes, I don't really like to socialize that much. I don't really enjoy small talks. I kind of like to do my own thing and spend time alone. But there will still be this desire to connect with people from time to time, and also to talk more deeply about topics that I'm interested in. Introversion is more of a social preference to be alone rather than a lack of social desire. It's like you enjoy being alone when but when you have enough of it, you still want to connect with others too. The hermit phase of spiritual awakening, on the other hand, is quite different. You don't really have this desire to talk to people, whether is it a small talk or cultivating a deep connection. It's more like you are turned inwards instead of outwards. You want to spend more time with yourself to develop this deeper connection with yourself instead of other people. So the lack of social energy is due to the lack of interest in others, especially when you're talking to others. You know that you're connecting with their ego. So you know that you're not connecting with their spiritual part of themselves. So you don't have the desire to connect with them. You're not interested in hearing their problems or what they do in their daily life or even what achievement or goals they are reaching for, because you know that all the ego stuff, and you want to connect more deeply with the spiritual stuff. So you don't have this desire to meet new people, to talk about yourself or learn more about them. Socializing on a whole just feels like a very boring affair, and all you want to do is just to focus on self. Depression is totally different too. I remember when I was depressed, I felt so tired. I barely had the energy to get out of the bed to do something, let alone talk to others. So that is not just a lack of social energy, it's a lack of energy to do anything. You just want to sleep all day and you have this constant negative thoughts that are haunting you. So if you feel like you have a lack of social energy, that is definitely one telltale sign that you are in a hermit phase of spiritual awakening. The second big sign is that your relationship starts to shift. Friends somehow left you for no reason. People stop talking to you. It's like you have this aura and this energy around you that you're giving out. And people just know that you just want to be alone. And because they sense this energy, they also don't want to disturb you. It could also be that you intentionally withdrawing yourself from the relationship you have, maybe because your values have changed and you no longer resonate with your friends. You may feel like you have outgrown some people or they no longer understand you. And it feels like a hassle to, explain what you're going through, especially after you explain, they still don't seem to get what you have been through. So you don't feel like sharing too much about yourself and you want to just like keep to yourself. Old friendship may also just fall away naturally without any major conflicts. For example, my friend and I, one day we just don't talk anymore. Like he went back to his home country without telling me, and also don't share much about myself or any updates with my life with him anymore. We are just both focusing on ourselves rather than being friends. There is no conflict, and we just naturally drift apart. And this happened to a lot of my friendship. One day I just don't talk to them anymore, and they also don't talk to me. So that there is no purpose to be around each other anymore. The third sign that signals a hermit phase of spiritual awakening is when your interests are changing. When you are entering this phase, you are more drawn to solitude. So you actively seek time to be with yourself. And so if your hobbies, your old hobbies, involve other people, such as like you do sports with others, you go watch movie with others, or you like partying, you will find that you will rather not do that anymore. You prefer activities that are more solo and help you connect with your spiritual side. For example, you may prefer to walk alone in the park rather than hike with your friends. You might just sit on the bench or near the ocean and just watch the waves for hours. People who doesn't understand you think that you might be crazy or you're depressed, but you're just spending time with yourself. And nature helps you to connect deeply with yourself, and you feel a strong pull towards nature after spiritual awakening. So you don't mind spending a lot of time there. The things that you once brought you joy no longer feel exciting or fulfilling because you seek internal connection and fulfillment instead of those overly stimulating activities and hobbies that you may once love before spiritual awakening. For example, I love singing, and I used to be in this singing group where I have to upload my singing every single month. But this year, I just feel that I don't have the interest and desire anymore. Like, I don't feel like sharing. And I also don't have a desire to express myself externally through singing. And so I left that singing course. Even like doing these YouTube videos, I felt like I have hit a point where I just didn't feel like doing it anymore. Like I felt this like several times this year already. Because I just don't know, I just have this feeling to keep to myself. I didn't want to share anything externally. I had to wait till I had that burst of inspiration and energy like today that I felt inspired and then just record a bunch of these videos at a time. If not, you will not see this video because I'll be like, doing my own things. And this brings me to the fourth sign, which is that your inner world become the main focus, the main priority. When you are entering the isolation phase of awakening, you're not so interested in the worldly affairs. You're really like a hermit. You live in a cave. Like you just want to withdraw and hide yourself from society. For some of you, you may feel like the place you're living in is too noisy or too crowded, and you want to live in a rural place instead of city, somewhere more quiet and peaceful. Or for people like me who live with our families, you may also want to go on solo trips or solo outings to a quiet place more frequently. Or you just want to stay in your room and do your own thing. Like you're not really interested in other people's business. On the surface, other people may think that, wow, why are you so aloof and withdrawn? Like, why do you not care about them anymore? Why are you so selfish? You don't ask about what's happening in their life. Like, it seems like you don't care or not interested in them. That's because after a spiritual awakening, your relationship with yourself became the top priority. You are so drawn to your own inner world that you don't know what's happening to the outside world. Or even you know that some people are experiencing their problems or whatever is happening in their life. It will pass eventually. So you're not so bothered about trying to help them fix their problems. When you are in the hermit phase, your spirit has your attention most of the time. This solitude helps you to connect with your spiritual self and listen to your intuition more clearly. You start to have a heightened sense of intuition. And when you block off the five senses, when you're not paying too much to your external environment, your inner world comes alive. Your sixth sense, your clairvoyance, your clairsentient, all your psychic abilities become more obvious. And there could be a lot of things happening internally too, not just the development of your intuition and your psychic abilities. I've been through this isolation phase a few times. Sometimes it's about shadow work. You learn to integrate parts of yourself that you have been suppressing. Sometimes it's about having more clarity on your purpose. And other times you find yourself reflecting on your life, your belief, and who you are on a deeper level than ever before. This time for me is really to connect more deeply with my spirit guides and angels, the other realm, the spiritual realm. Whatever it is, this internal focus is inevitable in the hermit phase because it helps you with your spiritual connection. The fifth sign is that your desire for external validation is fading. When you are in solitude and more connected with yourself, you become less concerned about what other people think of you. And like people might think that you're selfish or aloof, you don't really care, and you just continue to go about your way. And you feel more interested in aligning with what feels true to you. Your validation is now coming from within. It's not from the outside world, from other people. You feel less of a need to please others and earn their social approval. And you're not willing to compromise and fit into the crowds. For example, I used to accommodate other people quite a bit. I might feel uneasy or guilty saying no to others. But nowadays, I just say no. If I don't feel like it, I just don't do it. I don't care so much about what other people think of me. Like, I remember last year, my ex-army bandmate asked me to hang out with him. Like, we have not met for several years, like almost a decade or 2 decades. And I just checked with my intuition and I just say no. The person knows me as my past self, but that's not who I am right now. So I was like thinking, do I really want to connect and reminisce about the past? And my intuition says no, not really. So I just reject it. It might seem very cold, but like I said, when you are in the isolation or the hermit phase, your connection with yourself, your relationship with yourself is of the top priority. Other people doesn't matter as much. Even how they think of you isn't that important to you anymore. It used to be important to your ego, but to your spirit, it's less of an importance. So if you resonate with any of these signs, you might be in a hermit phase of spiritual awakening, but you must know that this is not a punishment. The universe is not punishing you. It's actually helping you to uncover something deeper within. You can watch this next video for more insights.